नमस्ते बेटिया खुश रहिए आई JVN Muskan Kumari from the Department of Science and Technology and I'm working here as an assistant professor in JVWU Women's University and the Faculty of Education and Methodology. So in this session today I will discuss with you the HTTP protocol, isn't it? So to discuss these protocols, I just want to share some created files with you through which you can easily understand all the things related to the HTTP protocols. Okay, so just wait, hold 1 minute. So I'm just sharing that file. Yes, here is the HTTP protocols. Okay, so basically in today's session, what is the HTTP protocols, why it uses, and many more things related to this topic I will discuss with you. So HTTP is basically stands for the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, this is a protocol used to access the data on the World Wide Web. The HTTP protocols can be used to transfer the data from the plain text to hypertext, audio, video, and so on. Clear? So now, if you talk about this protocol, is also known as the hypertext transfer protocol because it is its efficiency that allow you to use in a hypertext environment where there are rapid jumps from one document to the another document. Clear? So now HTTP is similar to the FTP protocols also, as it also transfer the files from one host to another host. But the HTTP is simpler than the FTP, and HTTP uses only one connections. No control connection to transfer the files is used. But HTTP is used to carry the data in the form of MIME like format. Clear? Now, HTTP is similar to SMTP as the data is transferred between the client and server. The HTTP differs from SMTP in the way the messages are sent from the client to the server and from server to the client also. Okay. So, SMTP messages are stored and forwarded while SMTP messages are stored and forwarded while the HTTP server and from server to the clients also. But we are doing this process still the HTTP messages are delivered immediately. Clear? So if anyone asks to you that what is hypertext markup language, hypertext um, transfer protocols. So you can also say like this, right? Hypertext transfer protocol is the foundation of the World Wide Web and is used to load the web pages, which is the made up of the HTML and CSS of web designing programming languages. Use the hypertext link. HTTP is the application layer protocol designed to transfer the information between the network device and runs on the top of other layers of the network protocol stack. Clear? So a typical flow over HTTP involves a client machine making a request to the server which then sends the responses to the message also. Clear? Now, if you talk about the features of HTTP, what will be the features of the HTTP? So, the connectionless protocol, HTTP is the connectionless protocol. HTTP is a connectionless protocol. HTTP client initiates a request and waits for the response from the server, isn't it? When the server receives the request, then server processes the request and send back to respond to the HTTP clients, and after which the HTTP client disconnects the connection which is already established. The connection between the client and server exists only during the current request and response time only. Okay. So now multimedia independent. What is the media independent? HTTP protocol is a media independent as data can be sent to both the client and the server know how to handle the data content, isn't it? It is required for both the client and server to specify the content type in MIME type header. Now, if you talk about the stateless, what is the stateless in the HTTP? What is the role of the stateless? Stateless HTTP is a stateless protocol. Why? As both the client and server know each other only during the current request. Due to this nature of the protocol, both the client and server don't retain the informations between the various requests of the web pages also. Clear? So now here is the diagram which will explains, like this is the client, this is the server side. Okay, so if this is a request, here is the request for any accessing the files or the anything to access the web pages. Clear? So they are giving the response as a reply to this clients that yes, you can access or not. Clear? Now if we okay, so now you can see here that the above figure shows the HTTP transaction between the client and the server. The client initiates a transaction by sending the request message to the server, and server replies to the request message by sending a response message. Okay. So now, what is the message here? Messages are of two types, request or the responses. Both message types follow the same message format. Okay, whatever the message format is for the request and the response. So here you can see that message is two types, request and the response. What is the working of request message? The request message is sent by the client that consists of the request line, header, and sometimes a body also. Here you can see that the request line, header, blank lines, and body present only in some messages. Response message is also similar as the your request message. The response message is sent by the server to the client that consists of a status line, header, and sometimes a body also. Now URL, what is the working of URL? Why you are using the URL, study the URL in HTTP protocols. So a client that wants to access the documents in the internet needs an address, and to facilitate the access of documents of the HTTP uses the concept of URL, Uniform Resource Locator. The URL is a standard way of specifying any kind of the informations also over the internet. The URL defines the parts like the method, their host, computer, port, and path. Okay, so you can see here the URL informations. Firstly, here the methods, then colon and slash slash, host name, and then colon, and then port number, port slash their paths. Clear? So method, what is here? The methods which is used, the methods which is used to retrieve the documents from a server, for example HTTP. Okay, and host, the host is the computer where the information is stored, and computer is given an alias name. Web pages are mainly stored in the computers, and the computers are given an alias name that begins with the character like www. This field is not mandatory. Okay? So if you talk about the port, so what is the port? Okay, so port, the URL. can also contain the port number of the server, but it is an optional field. If the port number is included, then it is must come between the host and path, and it should be separated from the host by a colon. Clear? Now, what is the path? Path is the basically path name of the files where the information is stored. The path itself contains the slashes that separate the directories of from the subdirectories of the files. Clear? So this is all about your HTTP protocols and what is the working of HTTP protocols. What are the uses of URL into the HTTP protocols? What are the messages characteristics? Categories or in HTTP protocol there is two. One is request, another is the response. So this is all about your HTTP protocols. Once again, I'm just going to recall these all the points that HTTP protocol is the hypertext markup language, and this is basically used for accessing the web browsers, isn't it? So whatever you will things about the HTTP, that is all about that ones. And now if you anyone talks the HTTP, then you can also say that HTTP is the application layer protocols designed to transfer the informations between the network device and run on the top of the layers also. And someone will ask to you the we are transferring the messages, and message contains the two parts. One is the your request and another is the response. So what is the HTTP request? So HTTP request is a path internet communication platform such as web browsers ask for the informations they need to load a website also, and each HTTP request made crosses the internet carries with it a series of encoded data that carries different types of the informations. A typical HTTP request contains the HTTP version type, their URL, and HTTP methods, HTTP request header, their body also. Okay, so I have discussed the URL with you. Okay, and the HTTP method, you will know the HTTP request headers basically contains your the authority www.google.com या फिर colon method colon get and this various type of the request header will be considered under this ones, and request body contains whatever the informations you want to fit from the servers. Clear? So this is all about your HTTP request. And if you talk about the HTTP okay, so this is all about you the HTTP. This one's all. And if you talk about the HTTP response, then HTTP response is what web clients and the browsers receive from the internet server in the answer to the HTTP requests also, isn't it? And in the what responses the HTTP status code, HTTP code headers, response header, optional HTTP body will also considered under that request or the response HTTP response. So this session is just going to be finished, and if you have any problem, then let me know your query. Okay, and please read this session from the multiple standard reference book also, and follow the multiple websites through which you can get this data clearly. Okay, so wait for the next session, and in the next session I will discuss the next protocol, that is the DNS protocols. Okay, thank you.